Good evening, very warm welcome to everyone this Sunday evening for the season finale of FRL Racing League's PlayStation 5 PureSimGear Sprint Sunday live at Laguna, Seca in California. Hope everyone's doing well. We've got 2 sprint races ahead tonight and a qualifying session that is currently just started. We're about 4 minutes into it as we've got the pro drivers making their way around the track, setting their lap times for qualifying, which will decide the starting position for both sprint races tonight. So yeah, hope everyone's had a good weekend. Looking forward to some good racing tonight. We've got a stacked grid. I believe we've got around about 22 drivers, 21 drivers on track tonight. And it's a challenging track, let's just say that. It's elevation changes, gravel traps, short curbs. It is challenging. You make one mistake and you're off. And of course, it's got the infamous corkscrew. I'm sure we're going to see carnage unfold there, either with cars or people making mistakes on their own. So I believe it's about 11 corners in total across the track, 11 corners, and I believe it's got probably one of the highest elevation changes on the calendar. I don't think there's no other track it compares to. I think it's around about 55 metres elevation change or something around there, 55, 60 metres. So yeah, difficult track. And from last week, in terms of the championship standings, we've actually got 2 confirmed champions, which is EOS Storico. I believe, anyway. Actually, I say confirmed. I may have just jumped the gun there a little bit. I'm not entirely sure if that is confirmed. Maybe not. Maybe I jumped the gun by saying that. But Storico currently is in the lead of the championship by 82 points. I don't think that is catchable, unless someone will correct me. And then in terms of the AM championship, Shadow Lancer is 81 points clear of MPL. So very similar gaps actually, 82 point gap for Storico in Pro and 81 points for Shadow Lancer gap in AM. We do have a bit of a battle for 3rd place though in both championships. So David Jr. currently holds P3 in the Pro tier with 134 points. Sorry, 499 points, beg your pardon. And EOS Moss is in 4th with 495. So really close battle there for 3rd place. And as you'll see, those 2 are likewise not separated by much on track either. Moss currently holds provisional P2 and David provisional P3. And then for the AM tier, you also have a battle for 3rd with Frank currently holding P3 with 368 points, and then Rui in P4 with 337. So a battle for 3rd place going down to the wire. I don't actually think Frank is racing tonight, so Rui has got a golden opportunity to take that 3rd spot in the championship. So current provisional pole is EOS Moss with a 123 flat. That is an absolute rapid time. I don't even think I've got that in me in the Taco series. That is a rapid time. Track is still fast yet though. It's not yet gone to optimum, but 18 degrees air temp with a 24 degree track temp, and the race times are 4 and 5 PM in game time. How do I differentiate from AM and Pro in the race? I don't, to be brutally honest with you, Vantage. I guess. It would be way easier if there was an option in game to have the AM drivers with their colour coding driver numbers, but that is based off your in-game license, I believe. There's no way of changing that. So Rapid Duck goes just under a 10th behind Moss in P2, so just a 10th separating the front runners so far. Then we have quite a gap to P3 with 5 tenths, and then With quite a big field spread in Pro already. Wee Danny in P6 is 1.7 seconds off pole, and then Anderson in 10th with 4.6. So quite a spread in times at the moment. So he's on board with Rapid Duck here. In an extremely green looking BMW. As I take a swig of my Pepsi. I'm feeling very under the weather tonight, people. I'm not going to lie to you. I was out last night for my early 30th birthday celebrations, and let's just say I'm feeling under the weather today. Certainly thankful I'm not racing tonight, as I don't think my brain would be able to handle the 11 corners around Laguna Seca. So this is the final race of the PureSimGear Sprint Sunday. As we see Moss, Rapid Duck go into the barrier, but he does take provisional pole with a 22.9. That is an absolute insane time around here. As we see Moss, Olimat, Canesa and Wee Danny all box. So that is their qualifying done. As David goes provisional pole 22.917. That is so close between him and Rapid Duck. Just on board with Anderson. So yeah, what was I saying before we saw Rapid Duck go into the barrier? Yeah, season finale tonight, and then there's obviously the Christmas and New Year break for pretty much all the championships throughout FRL on console. However, there are a few special one-off Christmas events or festive period events to sign up to if you want to get your racing fix over the Christmas and New Year period. I'm looking forward to a couple of weeks off, to be honest with you, mainly because I've been racing a lot over the last couple of months. But keep your eyes peeled in the new year for the sign-ups for the new championships. So we'll have a new season of Tacos, new season of Sprint Sundays, and there is the late night series as well, and of course the endurance series that is ongoing once a month. The next round in Spa is due in the start of Jan. So plenty of new drivers to FRL in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, guys, just make sure you are keeping your eyes peeled for the sign-ups for the new series. We're hopefully going to get a couple of tiers for most of the series. The numbers are looking promising at the moment in terms of number of active personnel within FRL, which is great. Numbers are only increasing. So, AM drivers, let's get on board with number 46, which is AMR Vantage. AM drivers are now making their way around to start their qualifying laps. We've got 8 minutes left to qualify. Let's see which drivers can get their names up that leaderboard. Can anyone challenge David's provisional pole for 22.9? I'm not sure. Though I know there is a couple of quick drivers in this AM tier. I won't name names. I don't want to single anyone out and put pressure on them in case they are listening live. But I know there is definitely a couple of quick drivers out on track right now who could get up there. As we see Vantage in his Audi Evo 2 with the Skechers livery. The car ran by Valentino Rossi in last year's GT. Well, this season's GT, shall I say. Jay Brooker goes provisional P7. It's a good time from Jay. So on board with our championship leader, Shadow Lancer. Let's see what time he can do. He's got a provisional top time down so far, but that's 2.7 seconds off the lead. That will just be a placeholder time though for him, I'd imagine. It won't be his optimal lap. As we see Liam Knott in the background as well, coming round up to the final corner. Can Shadow Lancer get that traction out the final corner, crosses the line? Where does he move up to? He moves up to P10. And Liam Knott moves up to P8. Vantage crosses the line again. Does he improve? He does not. And we have car 99, is that coming across? It is. Morex currently bottom of the leaderboard. Morex coming through to set his first lap of the session. Where does he go up to? He goes straight to P4. So Morex straight to the P4, 5/10 off pole position. That is a cracking time from the 99 McLaren. See that BSVC Shadow Lancer completely lose it at the corkscrew. He will not be the first, or will not be the last tonight, shall I say. He will not be the last car to do that tonight, I'm for sure. As he's just reversing and hopefully stays out of the way of Hand of Ness. And Hand of Ness also loses it at the corkscrew. It's like an ice rink out there, except it isn't. It is just the infamous corkscrew. So, 2 cars in the space of 30 seconds losing it at the corkscrew, as we're on board with Buddy Lee in the all-white rookie livery. One of the few drivers who actually is running the all-white rookie livery. Actually, it's nice to see. There's Jack Davidson as well, coming across that line. Can he improve on his current provisional P18? He cannot, but he has got time for another lap. There's probably time for another couple of laps, to be honest, with 3 minutes remaining of this session. As Morex improves, he now only goes just under 2/10 off pole, so Morex is certainly quickening. Can he find those extra 2/10 to take pole position? I wouldn't bet against it. See, Liam Knott does improve. Here we are on board with Morex. That's the corkscrew navigated. Final corner to go. I could pick that braking zone just at the second meter board. Get the car turned in, traction out of the corner, don't run too wide. So, has he got that 2/10 in the bag? He hasn't, doesn't improve, but he's got time for another lap. We'll stay on board with Morex. It's a little bit wide there, but he manages to keep it just on the track limits. So corkscrew to go for Morex. He can't take too much speed into here. It's such a corner. He loses a little bit, but he's probably lost a tenth or two there. Very close to ditching the car, but he's kept the McLaren pointing the right way at least. He's still continuing, so he may still be close to his doubter. He's going to get time for another lap actually. We have a minute remaining as we head into our final minute of the session. So this is it for Morex. It is make or break for him. As we see Vantage as well, also within a second of pole position. As he goes, the rear of that Audi steps out, and that is his qualifying done. So let's just join on board with Hand of Nez, who will be the first driver across the line. Out of the drivers still running. Get my words out. In the Honda tonight. One of two Hondas, I believe. I think the Honda is certainly strong around here. And I'm surprised to see Hand of Nez down in P11th. I know he's got some quick times in that Honda, so I'd expect him to be a little bit higher. And he could yet prove a difference with this lap. He does, he improves to P7, that's more like it. So car number 99 is coming around, and that is Morex. So has he found those two temps? He does. Morex takes pole position with a 22.9. Take a look at that top three, the times, all within a tenth. I mean, that is unbelievable. 0.005 of a difference to David. That is unbelievably close. So that's a qualifying over. Let's just get you a proper rundown of the timetables. So, couple of purple sectors as well, which we'll go through. So Morex is your pole position number one car in the McLaren 720S GT3, car number 99, with a time of 1 minute 22.912 over purple sector 1 and a purple sector 3. David is P2 in the Ferrari 488 with a 22.9117, and then Rapid Duck in the BMW. So three different cars, three different manufacturers in the top three. And that is a 22.932, so unbelievably close for the top three. EOS Moss in fourth with a purple sector 2, couldn't quite hook it up for the first and third sectors. And then Olimac in P5, so four different manufacturers in the top four, and then we have three BMWs in the top 10 as well. So a nice little mix of cars. We've also got a Honda of Hand of Nez sneaking into the top 10. So back on board the qualifying rundown. P6 is AMR Vantage in the Audi. Hand of Nez, as I just mentioned, in P7. BRC Canesa, who was your race winner from race 2 last week at Watkins Glen. I had to think about where we were then. Rui in P9. Liam Knott 10th. Jay Brooker in the Aston Martin in P11. Shadowlancer 12th, Wee Danny all the way from Scotland in P13, Anderson P14, Storico, which is quite a surprising position for Storico. He's normally up there, so for him to be 15th is surprising, so watch out for him in the race. He could be the one slicing through the field like a hot knife through butter. Famous last words, as he loses it on the corkscrew in the first lap, potentially. FRL Darren Mark, my fellow commentator from Taco Tuesdays Tier 2 in P16th. Best of luck for the race, Darren. 70. Oh, what have I done there? Pressed the wrong button. You can tell I'm not on top form tonight, can't you? Back to the timetables. FRL Chris Yavoltin in P17. We've got the battle of the FRL guys there in P16 and 17. Let's hope they don't take each other out. Otherwise, the admin chat later on will be interesting, to say the least. I'll have my popcorn ready. Jack Davison in P18. Buddy Lee 19th. and we have a couple of drivers who didn't set a qualifying time in 20th and 21st, and that is Hugo Cito and N-Specs respectively. So that's your qualifying for the two races tonight, guys. I think it's going to be, well, if the top three are that close in qualifying, we can hope they are going to be that close on track. We could have another exciting race on our hands here, very much like Watkins Glen last week, where we had an unbelievable battle in both races, but especially in race one. It was quite the watch. So, a couple of minutes for the server to do its thing and reset, drivers to load up their race strategies, setups, etc., get the fuel loads corrected and tyre pressures, and then we'll be underway for the formation lap, which is a full guided formation lap, and then they'll head into their 2x2 formation to start race one. So I'll just leave you for 30 seconds while I go refresh myself with a SodaStream Pepsi, I think, and I'll be back with you in about 30 seconds.
Seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
So guys, we're underway for the formation lap as Morex in the 99 McLaren leads them away. Just reading the Discord actually, and I know a couple of drivers haven't done much practice for this race. I think David was the main one actually, saying that he's only done 20 laps or something like that. So this could be interesting for him in P2. He's gonna have to learn fast, I think, to find that race consistency, because this track is not forgiving on errors. As we have Jack Davidson in the pits. Maybe he didn't click start in time, potentially. I had to find out which driver that was because it's showing us car 22, but we don't have a car 22 on the driver tracker. So the game is doing its best tonight to keep me on my toes. The Jack Davidson actually comments on the Discord that he's messed his fuel up. He only had 2 litres in the car. Yeah. Probably wouldn't have survived the first lap in that case. So, drivers are heading into their Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. As we come up to the final corner, it's going to be a pivotal start of the race. And they're going to be side by side into the Andretti hairpin, which is technically turn 2 on this track. As we're about to go green.
Green light.
We are green, we're away, Morex leads them away. As we've got David and Rapid Duck already side by side, we've got 3 wide. Going into the Andretti hairpin, we've got a little bit of contact there, car 82, which is Ollie Max. Ollie Max on the inside. David goes a little bit deep, he's going to lose the perfect line, but he's going to have the inside line into turn 3. So Morex, as my cameraman, catches back up. So Morex is away in P1. P2, Rapid Duck has actually lost ground a lot as my driver tracker is going haywire. So just bear with me while that just updates itself. And we'll find out where we are. We've got a couple of cars off. I think that's Chris Yavolton at the Andretti hairpin who's lost it, car number 79. It's currently showing Chris in the lead, but he is not, unfortunately for him. So Morex is your race leader. Rapid Duck is P2. Ollie Max had an absolute cracking start. We saw him go side by side into the hairpin. So he's up to 3rd in the 82 BMW. David is 4th, down from P2. As we see Ollie Max go a little bit wrong on the corkscrew. Vantage P5, Moss P6, Hand of Neff 7. Jay Brooker had a good start up from P11, I believe. But as I say that, he goes into the gravel. It's going to lose him out to Storico, as we've got another car going wide there as well. That is the Honda. We've got the Canesa in P10. We've got 4 wide here as the 242 dives up the inside of which was Hand of Nez. That's forced Canesa wide. He's going to lose out. So Jay Brooker is now on the back of Storico. But he's also got, I think it's Hand of Nez, who's going to be sending it down the inside, is he? No, Jay Brooker closes the door on the inside. It's good driving from Jay. And they've got a little bit of contact as well. Hand of Nez just gets tapped a little bit by Shadow Lancer, but unfortunately he's not lost the control of the car. So just bear with me, guys. That's why I find where the battles are and while the field just kind of settles down a little bit. Straight away though, the front 2 are absolutely pulling away like a lead peloton pack. So Morex is your race leader, but 7/10 behind him is Rapid Duck as they come through the timings to see how close he is. He's 1.1, so he's extended that gap a little bit, but the corkscrew is where you can make or break your lap. Let's just follow some of these cars down the corkscrew and see how everyone manages it. Storico is currently your purple lap holder. Hand of Nez going, he likes to take the inside line, doesn't he? Yes. So on board with the 888 Ferrari of Anderson. As we see Liam Knott send it up the inside of Jay on the final turn. Jay pulls a little bit to try and break that slipstream. Is he going to defend the inside line again into the Andretti hairpin? It looks like he is. He's hugging that line tightly. So Liam goes to the outside. It's not going to be the optimal line around that corner. So yeah, they maintain. Jay Brooker does maintain 13th, but he does go. He has a little bit of a sneaky look up the inside of Jay on turn 3. He's certainly looking racy, Liam, in the number 16 Porsche. As we've got a car wide. Is that 88? Is that Ollie Mac? Or 82? No, it is Storico. Storico is in the wall. He's going to have to do a careful track rejoin as Darren comes round. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Storico, as we're just on board with Ollie Mack, who's under a lot of pressure from David. David, who did lose 2 places at the start, he did qualify P2. He's looking to regain his podium position. As Ollie Mack goes wide, he's going to spin the car around. There's contact. Oh dear, that is unfortunate for. Is that Handel? Is that who was that? I'm just trying to work out who that was. It was Vantage, AMR Vantage. Unfortunately, being collected up. Deary me, that is unfortunate for Vantage. It was completely accidental. We saw Ollie Mack go wide onto the gravel, and just, you know, the gravel just spat him out into the track of Vantage. That is unfortunate. So Morex is still your race leader. However, he's coming under increasing pressure from Rapid Duck. He's only 6 tenths behind as they head up to the Rahul Straight and into the infamous corkscrew. So, with that mistake of Ollie Mack, that's moved David up to P3. Moss is at the P4. Vantage is still in 5th, but he's going to be carrying a lot of damage. That Audi is looking like it is scratched up with the bonnet flapping around. It's looking like how I'm feeling, most likely. So, is he going to box for repairs? He does. So, Vantage comes into the pits to get that Audi repaired. Such a horrible pit entry as well on this track. I don't realise how tight that turn is. I discovered that in practice the other day when I almost sent it straight into the barrier. On board with Shadowlancer, he's under pressure from Rui in the 911 McLaren. Is Rui close enough to make a move into the Andretti hairpin? I don't believe he is this lap. We have Liam Knott, who's actually, we saw him on board a lap or two ago fighting Jay. He's actually moved up 2 positions, so maybe Jay has made a mistake or just got overtaken on pace. We're not sure there. We didn't see that one. We've got a couple of cars into the pits now, so I think that's Ollie Mack also coming into the pits with Vantage. So that's going to put them right to the back of the field, unfortunately, for those 2 drivers. It is a shame. Right, where are the battles? On board with Jay, who I believe has just taken P11 from Hugo Nito in the Bentley. He has. He's moved up to P11, Jay. Back to where he's qualified, I believe. And Rui is right behind Shadowlancer, who's got Anderson right behind him. So we've got a right ding-dong battle going on for P8 here, or P7. Rui goes wide, and hopefully can he rejoin safely? He can. He manages to keep that car under control. Otherwise, that would have been a replica situation to what happened with Ollie Mack and Vantage. So we see, I believe, Ollie Mack leaving the pits. Where is that going to put him when he comes to rejoin? It's obviously going to put him at the back of the grid, but what I mean when I say that is where is he going to put him in relation to other cars on track? It's an awful pit exit as well. I mentioned it's an awful pit entry. The exit is even worse. I mean, that is a very tight pit exit. So he's managed to rejoin out in front of Wee Danny in the 778 Honda, who is under pressure. And that is also that marker as well in between them. So that's Chris in P15, who we saw losing it at the Andretti hairpin. And Darren right behind him, as we've got contact up ahead. That is Ollie Mack again, I believe. Where is card number 82 on my tracker? It is. It's Ollie Mack. And is that Darren? No. So Ollie Mack is he trying to get out of the way of a McLaren coming through? So I missed what happened there, but there was contact between Ollie Mack And I've got car 778 off as well, which is wee Danny. It could have been the car he made contact with. So Ollie Mack is certainly involved with the race. Let's just say that, with a couple of racing incidents in the space of 2 laps, as we've got Chris off at the final corner. He was running in P14. He's now doing his best impression of donuts to try and get that car straightened up again. He rejoins safely and lets, I think it's N-Specs, the number 14 McLaren, go through. He does. So Chris is back up and running as we've got Ollie Mack off again on that final corner. That Beamer really is looking worse for wear as he tries and boxes, misses the pit entry. All while that was happening, our race leader has changed. So Rapid Duck is your new race leader, and Morex is 5 seconds behind him. So that must have been a mistake from Morex. So position for race leaders changed there. Rapid Duck has now got quite a big gap. What, 20 seconds to go? It's like 20 minutes to go. 5 seconds is quite a gap to make up. So we'll see what pace Morex can rediscover. David is still P3, Moss is P4, Hand of Ness is P5, but he's got Canesa, last week's race winner, on his tail. Just do a field run through in a minute, because the field spread is already massive, as there's a number of drivers have been making mistakes. Shadowlancer has moved up to P7, but he's under pressure from Anderson in the 888 Ferrari, who's likewise under pressure from Liam Knott. We'll stay on board with these guys for a couple of corners. As Liam Knott, the Porsche, does its best impression of trying to send Liam Knott into the shadow realm. So, Rui P10, who's got Jay right behind him. Hugo Cito in P12. Buddy Lee 13th, as we've got car number 88, which is Storico, spinning off. I think that's the second time he's made that mistake, and that's the exact same spot. So Darren moved up to P14. Storico is potentially going to maintain 15th because N-Specs is a few seconds behind. So N-Specs is 16th. Chris is 17th. Maybe carrying a bit of damage as well by looking at that paintwork. AMR Vantage, who we saw got taken off earlier on in the race, is up to, well, down to 18th, shall I say. He was obviously running P5 or 6, I believe. That's unfortunate for him. Wee Danny, 19th. Jack Davidson, who we saw didn't start from the pit lane due to a fuel issue. And Ollie Mack is last, which is not a surprise given his adventures on the racetrack in the first 10 minutes of this race. So, gap to Rapid Duck. It is down slightly to 4.6 seconds. Is more starting to eat into that gap? We'll keep an eye on that. Where do we have the action? So Anderson is still piling the pressure on Shadowlancer. Shadowlancer appears to be a little bit of a cork in a bottle right now with these two drivers, as we see that Rui. That's Rui. It's Anderson and Liam Knott. So not Rui. Contact there between Liam Knott and Anderson, and Rui, in the space of one corner, moves up to 2 places, up to P8. That's going to give Shadowlancer some breathing space, but he will see Rui, who is a fast driver, finish P2 at Watkins Glen on Tuesday, and Taco Tuesdays. He'll be hunting down that BMW, as he was hunting me down in the closing lap or 2. As we see, was that Liam Knott? It is. It's Liam Knott spinning. We've seen a number of cars lose it at that kind of fast right-hander heading into the final corner. Liam Knott does very well just to put the brakes on and just let the drivers pass without rejoining safely. So good driving standards there from Liam. So we've got mistakes all over the place. It's impossible for me to keep up here. The field spread as well, you can see from the bottom right corner that there's just the field spread is massive, considering we've only had 15 minutes running. So we are almost heading up to our halfway mark of the race, guys, and we've got a gap which has come down again to 4.3. So Morex is eating into that gap slightly. Is he eating into it enough for 15 minutes as we see car 166 yellow flags in sector 1? Who is that? I don't think I've got a car list to have. It's Jay Brooker. Jay Brooker in the Aston Martin. That's unfortunate. He was running P11. He's now down to 14th, I'm going to say. And again, we've got Storico, who's, I think, he's gone for a hat-trick. I think that's the third time he's lost it there. So, when I say Morex was eating into that lead, he's done the opposite. That gap's now gone up to 5.3. So I'd imagine there's another mistake there from Morex. And that has now put him under pressure, hot under the collar of David Jr., who's having a good race so far in P3. As I just crack open my box of chocolate roses. So, as my race engineer comes into my right ear and tells me we're halfway into the race. So on board with Chris, you've altered, just trying to work out who that is behind him. If it's not for position, it's Wee Danny actually coming through to unlap himself. So where are these battles on track? I've got quite a few cars just now maintaining their gaps to drivers. Morex has certainly got the pace round here as we see him lose the car, and that is Morex off. Perfect timing to join on board. We've just seen Morex lose P2. Where is Moss in relation to Morex? Is he going to be close enough to put Morex under pressure? He is coming down the corkscrew now. So another mistake from Morex. I was just about to say, that's really spooky. I was just about to say about Morex, we see him go wide again. I was just about to say, before I joined on board with him, Morex has clearly got the speed, but he hasn't got the consistency. And then I click the button to join on board, and we see him lose it. As we see Darren Mark in the 420 Ferrari go wide at the exit of turn 4. It's all happening tonight, guys. Not mainly with, all happening with mistakes, which is probably not a surprise given how challenging the track is. As Rui is catching Shadow Lancer. He's under a second heading into the final corner. As we see more Xbox for repairs. And I think we've also got an early retiree of Ollie Mac as well, which is your 82 BMW. As we see our race leader unlapping some traffic into the corkscrew, that is certainly going to be a bit of a Code Brown moment. But he dispatches the Audi nicely. So Morex is leaving the pits. Where is he going to rejoin? Right, so Storico yellow flags at the corkscrew. He's gone wide at the corkscrew, and I think we saw Chris go off as well. Yellow flags pop up on my screen in sector 1. So I think there's mistakes in cars flying off left, right, and centre every lap. The marshals are going to have arm ache from waving less amount of yellow flags so far, with 10 minutes to go. As car number 14, N-Specs has a little bit of a wobble, and he's going to have to race lead Rapid Duck coming up behind him. Is Rapid Duck going to dispatch these back markers, or is he going to lose time? He has got a comfortable lead though of 6.6 seconds to David Jr. So N-Specs pulls to the side, does he? And what's Rapid going to do here? Is he going to send it up the inside, or is he going to just tuck him behind N-Specs? N-Specs goes a little bit wide to let him through. Doing that though has put him under pressure from Vantage, who is trying to regain some lost positions from the earlier contact with Olimac. As he goes up the inside of N-Specs, he manages to take the position. N-Specs didn't look like he was fighting that, or maybe he got a little bit outbrake himself, and that's going to put him under pressure from the... is that Morex? It is, it's Morex coming through as well. So Morex gets a little bit sketchy on the exit of that fast left-hander. Probably one of the trickiest corners on this track, in addition to the corkscrew, as I think we see Moss going slow as N-Specs. Has he lost that car again, or no? Was that just my camera angle? It looked like the car was sliding then. It wasn't, it was just the camera angle. So where are these battles then, guys? Let's go on board with Liam Knott, who's putting Hugo Cito in the 107 Bentley under pressure. So guys, if you are watching live, or likewise watching back up catch up later on, please drop a thumbs up on the video if you have enjoyed the content. It will be very much appreciated. And also, please don't forget to whack the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. So Liam Knott is certainly making that Porsche try and make itself look big compared to the Bentley, but Hugo Cito goes defensive on the inside, Liam Knott goes on the outside. He's later on the brakes. Is he going to be able to maintain it side by side on the outside? He's going to have the inside now to turn 3. He is. Can he make this move stick on the inside? I think he has got it. If my cameraman catches up, he has. So by going on the outside of the Andretti hairpin, he then had the inside line, the racing line, in the optimal line, shall I say, going into turn 3. So good racing between the two of them, and they left each other space, and Liam Knott moves up to P8. Good driving. Crack on, Liam. Anderson in the 888 Ferrari is next up the road for you. And we on board with Rui, who is really caught up to Shadow Lancer now. Shadow Lancer having a cracking race in P5 so far, the AM Tier Championship leader. I think Shadow Lancer takes a little bit too much curb there, and that's going to compromise his exit out this corner and down the straight into the Andretti hairpin. So is Rui close enough? Certainly takes a wider line or a wider entry into that corner, doesn't he, compared to Shadow Lancer? As he dips the tyres a little bit on the gravel or grass, whatever it is. So Shadow Lancer will, his rear view mirror will certainly be full of McLaren as we see them go side by side into turn 6. turn 5. This corner here is ever so tricky. You really just got to dab the brakes, throw the car in. Do not touch that sausage curb on the inside, otherwise you will be royally screwed. And then you have the infamous corkscrew as Shadow Lancer goes a little bit too deep into that, and that's going to compromise him, as Rui is now going to have the better exit. He's going to try and send it up the inside, but that's going to be a tricky corner to go up the inside. The camber is so aggressive here. You can really got to pick your line. It's like a roller coaster, that final part of that track, you know, down from the corkscrew, and then you got the left hander, then the right hander. It's like a roller coaster. It's like Alton Towers. Right, so we also have Liam Knott, who's caught up to Anderson very quickly. I did say Anderson was was the next car up the road. He's already found that out for himself. Anderson, is Liam going to do the same move what he did on Hugo Cito? He tries to go to the outside, but Anderson goes deep as well. He isn't going to be able to go up the inside here, I don't think. He's not close enough. Anderson's on the brakes, both on the brakes. So Anderson's managed to maintain P7, but for how long? As we see our race leader Rapid Duck cross the start finish line, he's managed to dispatch all that traffic off the back markers, so he's now got a nice clear track ahead of him, and that gap to David is 7.5, so that's actually gone up from 6.6, but we saw a couple of laps ago. So I think with 4 minutes remaining, this is Rapid Duck's race to lose. Mistake pending though. As we see, is that Darren Mark up ahead? It is. Darren Mark is having a look. There's a back marker involved in that there. It could be. As we have Storico is off at the exit of turn 3 again, and he's parked that car in an awkward spot for Shadow Lancer and Rui, who was coming flying through. They would have not liked the scene of that. As we got car number 16 off as well. Who is that? Who is car number 16? Come on, Lewis, find that out. It's probably right in front of me and I'm missing the number. It's Liam Knott. So Liam, who was making great progress. We saw him having a ding-dong battle with Hugo Cito and Anderson, but he's now probably have lost that position. Yep, so Hugo Cito has gone through up to P8. And I believe we've still got Storico as well, trying to keep out of the way down there. He's having a torrid race, really, isn't he? All the way down in 19th. The two EOS guys, 19th and 20th. A race to forget for those two teammates. As Storico just completely goes straight on, and that Audi is done. There's no way you can continue with that. He's got a gaggle of cars coming up behind him as well. He's got to really stay clear of these group of cars coming through. The group of cars is Vantage, Morex, Darren Mark and Co. So they come flying through. Storico's keeping well out of the way. I was just jumping on board with David, who is currently in P2, but he's in and around back markers here, as he's got car number 99 behind him, which is Morex. Morex is certainly going to struggle to get past him. Even though it's not for position, should I say. And I think we've got Anderson, who's gone wide at the corkscrew. He has, and that's going to, oh, you can see Cito almost went into the back of him. So Anderson loses out to Hugo Cito. he's quietly going about that leaderboard. He's moving up places purely due to other drivers' mistakes, which is sometimes, you know, what you got to do. You've got to keep it clean. You keep it clean in these races, you will gain positions because other drivers will make mistakes. So on board.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
On board with Anderson as he's looking to regain P7. So final lap for your race leader, which is Rapid Duck. We'll join on board with him towards the end of the lap to see him cross the start finish line. As we've got car 303 off at turn 1. It is actually, I think he's quit as well. Connection issue there potentially. I'm not sure who that was. I can't remember who 303 was. It was David. It is David who's gone. He was running P2, wasn't he? How did I not notice that straight away? So David was your P2 driver. He was one who potentially lost the connection issue at turn 1. So Kanesa moves up to P2. And that moves Hand of Nez in the Honda up to provisional 3rd position. So here is your to be confirmed race winner, Rapid Duck, for race 1 as he rounds the final corner. The checkered flag is out and waving. For once it isn't a yellow flag around here tonight, it's a checkered flag, and Rapid Duck crosses the line to win the race. Fantastic drive from Rapid Duck. On board with Kanesa coming through the fast right-hander to come home in P2. So P2 for Kanesa. Hand of Nez now rounding the final corner to come home in 3rd place. A great result for him in the Honda. Shadow Lancer, currently P4. This will be a great result for him. So, Shadow Lancer 4th. Rui 5th. Hugo Cito 6th. Anderson 7th. Jay Brooker's going to come home in 8th. It's a great result for him. And Buddy Lee, P9. Another good result. So lots of drivers. There's some really AM level drivers having good finishes as he flashes the light for the stream. So great result for Buddy Lee, and that the rest of the field has completed. So let's just give you a rundown of the full timing. So as I said, Rapid Duck is your race winner from race 1. Kanesa P2, Hand of Nez 3rd, Shadow Lancer 4th, Rui P5, Hugo Cito 6th, Anderson 7th, Jay Brooker 8th, Buddy Lee 9th, Vantage 10th, Morex 11th. Did have the purple fastest lap. He'll be looking for a better result in race 2. Darren in 12th. Good result, Darren. Nice one, mate. Nspecs 13th. Chris 14th. Wee Danny 15th. Jack Davison 16th. Moss 17th. Liam Knott 18th. You'd be disappointed with that considering his pace early on in the race. 19th Historico and Ollie Mack 20th. So that was an interesting race to say the least. That what carnage Joe Brooker says on the stream. Yeah, that was carnage, mate. Mainly due to people just making mistakes. I think from what I saw, the actual racing between drivers was pretty decent. It was just drivers making mistakes on their own accord. Right, I'm off to take a 30-second or a minute break, and I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes, guys, for race 2.
seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
So guys, race 2 about to get underway with the formation lap. If you're wondering why Vantage has a clear run in front of him, it's because the drivers who qualify in P2 and 3 etc. Not disqualified, disconnected, and that is David and I believe Moss. They are starting from the back of the grid, so that is why we have a little bit of an odd grid at the start of this race. So, we are coming round into the third sector and the final corners of this track, ready for the start of race 2. Track conditions have changed slightly. First of all, it's a little bit later in the day, so the sun is a little bit lower. We've got an air temp of 16 degrees and a track of 18 degrees, so temps have come down a little bit, so drivers will need to have counted for that with their tyre pressures respectively. As we have Morex leading the grid 2x2 into the final corner onto the start finish straight, and we'll be keeping to that speed limit, waiting for the flag to drop.
Green light. Go,
And we're green. We're away for race 2 of PureSimGear Sprint Sunday on FRL on PlayStation 5. So Morex gets a good start, but Rapid Duck is straight to the outside. Can he keep it to the outside? He goes a little bit too deep, as we see it. Vantage goes down the inside and actually takes the lead of the race. AMR Vantage with a cracking start into P1 straight away. Let's wait for the cameraman to catch up. So I think Morex and Rapid Duck were so busy concentrating on each other, they both went a little bit too deep into the corner, and Vantage just went, thank you very much, I will take some of that, straight down the inside and into the lead of the race. But he's going to have Rapid Duck straight on him, which he does. Rapid Duck in a 48 BMW is already on all over the back of that Skechers Audi Evo 2. Olimac is P3, but he's just gone wide at the exit of turn 6. That's going to really, because we've got Jay Brooker going wide as well in the 166 Aston Martin. It's going to be carnage at the corkscrew. Let's just stay on board. We've got Jay Brooker stall. We've got yellow flags out. We've got numerous yellow flags. It's carnage back there. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. We've got cars everywhere on lap 1 at the corkscrew. As we've got car number 22 already done an early retirement. That is... who is car number 22? And we've We've got a car at the back of the grid boxing as well. I think that's potentially one of the EOS guys. So let me just get my bearings, guys, and try and work out what the hell's going on here. The main thing is to note is AMR Vantage leads the pack into lap 2 as your race leader. We've got numerous cars in the pit. We've got Jay Brooker, who's just bounced the car off the entry wall. EOS Storico, Jack Davidson, and Wee Danny, all 4 drivers in the pits. Excuse me. So, Rapid Duck P2, Hand of Nez P3, was your podium holder from the last race, but he's got Canesa all over the back of him. Rui in P5, Liam Knott in 6th, Morex 7th, Anderson 8th, Ollie Mac 9th, Shadowlancer 10th, Buddy Lee 11th, David in 12th, Chris up to 13th, Moss 14th, Darren doing his Tokyo Drift impression in the Ferrari, he's just probably lost places down to 8th, 16th and 17th now. 16th, oh it is 17th, beg your pardon. Hugo Cito up to 15th, N-Spec 16th, Storico 18th, and then we've got the drivers in the pits, which I believe were all from the earlier Race 1 contact at the Corkscrew. So on board with AMR Vantage 47 in the 46 Audi, he goes purple in lap 2, but that could quickly change as the rest of the field come across the line, but can he maintain that position from Rapid Duck, who is quacking away behind him. Rapid Duck, of course, your race winner from race 1. I'm just heading towards the back of the grid. We've got a lot of cars fighting away here. All fairly pedestrian so far. As we're on board with Liam Knott and Rui. Rui's having a look at Hand of Nez. He's going to be side by side going into the Corkscrew. As they both go a little bit deep. That's going to... Oh, we've got a car going wide. I think we've got 2 cars going off. I think that is Rui. I think Rui's lost it. Rui's lost it. He's back on track. Where's that going to put him? I think that's dropped in 2 positions. As we've got Liam Knott off as well in the Porsche. So Anderson is now all over Morex like a rash. As we've got Darren Mark off at the Corkscrew as well. Let's jump on board with the leaders as Rapid Duck goes down the inside of Vantage and takes the lead of the race. So that is a position change for the lead. Rapid Duck quickly moving on Vantage. We join just on board at the right time as we see them go side by side into the Andretti hairpin. But the key thing to note is Rapid Duck, car number 48 BMW, moves up to the race lead. And we have Canesa, who we know is an extremely quick driver from last week. He'll be looking to catch these guys up. So on board with Olimac. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. As he's got Rui, he's got Shadowlancer, he's got David all behind him. David is having a cracking start on the race. I think he started 19th or something, maybe even, 22nd actually. And he's already up to P11. So he is the hot knife through butter, as I was talking about before the start of race 1. So, lap 4. Rapid Duck is your race leader. Vantage in 2nd, Caneta 3rd, Hand of Nez 4th, Morex 5th, Anderson 6th, Liam Knott 7th, Ollie Mac 8th, Rui 9th, Shadowlancer 10th, and David 11th. These drivers are going to be very close going into the Andretti hairpin. If any of them going to make a move down the inside or the outside, not at the moment in time. Moss 12th, Chris in 13th. He's got Buddy Lee not far behind him, only 4/10, who likewise got Hugo Cito behind him in 15th. N-Spec 16th, Darren in 17th, Moss, who is, I think, at the drive-thru at McDonald's at the Corkscrew areas, in 18th, Wee Danny 19th, Jay Brooker, who's had a disastrous start to the race, down in 20th, and Jack Davison is 21st. So all drivers are still currently running. We have a little bit of a field spread going on as the field starts to settle down. But we're on board with Liam Knott. So Ferrari v BMW, David Jr. versus Shadow Lancer. So, gap between Vantage and Rapid Duck is 1 second as we enter the corkscrew. Now, we know Rapid Duck has got some good race pace, as we saw from the first race. What we don't know is what Vantage's race pace is like in clean air. He obviously got taken out by Ollie Mack in race 1, and then I think he made quite a few mistakes by his own accord, as we have car 911, which, oh, sorry, 911, that's Morex, isn't it? No, it isn't. It is, who is car 9? It's Rui. So Rui is off at the corkscrew. So, anyway, what was I saying about Vantage? Yeah, so he made a couple of mistakes on his own accord in the first race. So we didn't really see what his race pace was like consistently in clean air. So we're going to see what he's got now anyway. As he's got Rapid Duck 1.2 up the road, and he's got a 4-second gap to Canesa. As we see Liam Knott and Anderson, I think, has just swapped positions. That was potentially a move at the Andretti hairpin. It is. So, actually, we've got Morex off as well. Morex has gone wide at the exit of turn 3. So he's lost 2 places. He's down to 7th. Liam Knott moves up to 5th. Anderson moves up to 6th. Then we've got Shadow Lancer and David. As David pulls to the outside, have a look. Shadow Lancer defends the inside line. These 2 drivers are now going to catch up to Morex, as we've got car number 88, which I think is Storico, off up ahead. Where is he on this track? He's pulled to the side. He's not redrawing, which is good. He's kept out of the way of these guys come flying through. So, a 3-way battle here for P7, 8th and 9th respectively. As the gap in front increases to 2 seconds now for Vantage. I think Rapid Duck may just have the edge on him in the race pace, but anything can happen. Anything can happen in FRL in GT3 racing. Certainly anything can happen around here. One slight mistake and this track will spit you out into the barrier, into the gravel. It will do anything. It is not an easy track to consistently drive. And that is where, for this upcoming Taco Tuesday races across the 3 tiers, it is going to be a race of survival, because this is an hour and a half as we see David go up the inside of Shadow Lancer. He tries to make that move stick. I think Shadow Lancer's going to have the better exit. And they go side by side. Is it going to be both drivers going to dab the brakes? It's such a hard corner, that left-hander. But he's managed to make the move stick, David. He moves up to take P8. And that has now put Shadow Lancer, Shadow Lancer even lost out to Moss, so in the space of 2 or 3 corners, car number 29 is down to P10. So yeah, what was I saying about Taco Tuesday? So yeah, this Tuesday's race in Tacos is the season finale, as it is here tonight for the Super Sprint, but it's an hour-and-a-half race. So it really is going to be a race of survival, because as you can see from these two races, it's just drivers making mistakes left, right and centre. And we've got a slow car at the end, which I think is Yugo Sito it is, in the Bentley, 107 Bentley, making a mistake at Sector 3, yellow flags were waving. As we see Ollie Mack under pressure from N-Specs, who's likewise under pressure from Buddy Lee, they're two rookies. This is the battle for P14. One thing I haven't mentioned tonight, it is the overtaking difficulty around here. You know, most of the position changes we've seen in these, as I think that's Ollie Mack off, and I'll just interrupt what I was saying. Yeah, it is. Ollie Mack was off the track there. That's lost him 3 places. As I was saying, the overtaker difficulty, a lot of the position changes we've seen tonight so far is mainly due to mistakes from other drivers or incidents. The actual kind of on-track overtaking between drivers is extremely hard around here. There's not a lot of opportunities. If you can get the run out the final corner and down the main straight into the Andretti hairpin, that's probably the best overtaking opportunity on this track. Then the rest of the sector, as we see Buddy Lee send it down the inside of N-Specs, just completely a good example there of what I was saying in terms of the overtaking. But the first sector is pretty much single file, really. Then you obviously have the corkscrew, which again is single file. You cannot go side by side into that, otherwise it will be carnage. And then, yeah, the other overtaking opportunity, as we've seen Buddy Lee give us a good example, is the final corner, which is a 90-degree left-hander. If you can get close enough there, you can send it up on the inside. But I think turn 1, or technically turn 2, the Andretti hairpin is the main overtaking spot. But it is a hard track to overtake. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, on board with Liam Knott in the number 16 Porsche, he is 5 tenths off Hand of Nez. He may even be a bit closer than that, to be honest. As we see Hand of Nez, is he going to be close enough to go? Hand of Nez goes to the inside to defend the inside line of the final corner. In the background we see 3 cars. We see Moss, we see David Jr., we see Shadow Lancer single file into the final corner. Who's got the better drive? I think Moss has made a mistake coming out of that final corner. I thought I put under pressure from David. David's certainly going to be close enough now going into move into turn 2. Andretti hairpin. Is Moss going to go to the inside? He doesn't. He goes to the outside. He doesn't defend the inside line. But David isn't close enough to make a move, or is he? Moss has gone too deep in the brake, and David slips on right on through, takes the position. Where is Shadow Lancer compared to Moss? He is just behind him. So position changes on track at the Andretti hairpin on lap 10.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
As Bono comes onto the radio to say we're halfway into the race. So Buddy Lee, compromised exit, and that's going to open the door to Ollie Mack, and Ollie Mack takes full advantage. He smashes through that door and up to P15. So in the space of 2 laps, as I was waffling on about how difficult it is to overtake, we've just seen a couple of cars make their respective moves at the Andretti hairpin. So let's just have a bit of a refresh halfway into the race and see where we are. So Rapid Duck is your race leader, who's now extended that gap to 4.3 seconds. So Rapid Duck is on for a double race win so far anyway. Vantage in second, a lot better race from him so far compared to race 1. Canesa is still P3. Yeah, I think he's got Jay Brooker behind him out of position in P20 in the Aston Martin it is. We then have Liam Knott in P4, Morex 5th, Anderson 6th, David 7th, Moss 8th, as we see David and Anderson getting extremely close on turn 5. The 2 Ferraris, the 2 prancing horses, battling it out. And while these two Ferraris squabble away, the Audi of Moss is in the background waiting to pounce, as we see quite a different line there between Anderson and David. Anderson really is struggling as they get extremely close. They're going to be side by side going into the final corner. Anderson goes to the inside, David to the outside. Is David going to get the better run, the better exit out of this corner? He's got to be careful of Moss. This could be a three-way into the Andretti hairpin. Everyone's dream. So, all single file at the moment, no one making that move. As we've got a yellow flags out at the corkscrew. I think that is one of the EOS drivers off again. That's potentially Storico. It is. Storico is having an absolute stinker of a night, let's be honest. He really has not been able to keep that 88 Audi on track at all tonight. If you've got another car doing its Darude Sandstorm impression, as we see a bunch of dust kick up. Not sure who that is. It's like Olimac, I believe. Olimac is likewise having an absolute stinker. I think it's fair of the commentator to say that. No disrespect, guys. And we've got a car box, which I think was Storico. So where was I with my grid roundup? I think we got up to P9, didn't we? So Rui 10th. Chris is having a good, quiet but good race. He's sneakily moving his way up the grid. He's having quite a lonely race, so he's 5 seconds off Rui and 8.5 seconds up the road from N-Specs. So keep your head down, Chris. Keep it clean, no mistakes, and you potentially got a top 10 on the cards there, pal. N-Specs 12th, Hugo C2 13th in the one and only Bentley of the field tonight. Buddy Lee 14th, Ollie Mack 15th, Darren 16th, Wee Denny 17th, Hand of Nez who's boxed, Storico who's boxed, and Jay Brooker who's boxed, potentially all early retirees or fixing damage. I suspect early retirees. So, battle for 6th, 7th and 8th rages on. We have the three-way of Anderson, Moss and David, and I think we've got Anderson going off. Anderson has gone off. I think that Ferrari's gone off into the shadow realm. He's managed to join back onto the track, but he's lost 3 positions there, I believe. I think Shadow Lancer has also come through here. He has. So, one Ferrari down for Moss. Can he dispatch the other? I think he has. I think he's already done it. He has. He's got past David. So 2 Ferraris down for Moss. And he'll be hoping he's seen the last of the Ferraris for tonight. Or the rear of the Ferrari, shall we say. And Moritz is slowly catching Liam Knott. Liam is having a good race so far. As we see, I think that is our race leader lapping Darren Mark. Darren 4 seconds off Ollie Mack, probably a little bit more than that now. And he's quite a way clear of Wee Danny as well, a long way clear of Wee Danny. So, I've just, commentators cursed it, haven't I? I've just said Moss will be hoping to see the rear of the Ferrari for the rest of the race. Well, guess what? He's back behind a Ferrari. David has retook P6. So, we're now into the final 10 minutes of this race, guys. It's been absolutely carnage tonight. The marshals have been having arm ache from waving the amount of yellow flags due to drivers going off. It's a brutal track, really is. And I think Tuesday is going to be very interesting if the amount of mistakes continues into Tuesday night in the Taco Tuesday finale, where there are championships to be decided in tiers 2 and 3, I believe. I think the tier 1 has already been decided. I won't mention who is in the lead of the tier 2 championship on Taco Tuesday. just a certain commentator who's hungover. As we see Moss lose it on the exit of turn 4, manages to keep it pointing in the right direction though. And we've got yellow flags out as well, just before they're all straight. Who is that? It's someone who's just gone back to the pits. I think it's Ollie Mack. It's Ollie Mack, yeah. So as I said earlier on, guys, if you are watching, please do leave a like, thumbs up, etc. on the video, and whack the subscribe button. And also please check out our primary sponsor for Sundays, which is PureSimGear. Those guys have some good gear for the simmers out there. You can get racing gloves and socks and other gear if you're looking to expand your sim wardrobe. Speed Guards question: how long do you run as a rookie? So it's a good question. Basically, your status within FRL is all on the back of your driver rating. So every driver on PC and PlayStation has an assigned driver rating, and that decreases or increases as you race. So every qualifying position you do, every race finish you do, will have a certain score against it or tied to it. And then there is quite a smart formula behind the scenes that kind of calculates the total figure, and that figure will give you your driver rating. And the guys at FRL, there's different categories with different levels. So for example, 50 to I think 80 is pro, or is gold. I think anything above 80 is platinum. I may have got those figures wrong, but the main thing is the 50 mark. If you are below 50, you're classed as AM. If you're above 50 or more, you are classed as a pro driver. So the more you race, the more accurate your driver rating is. But it's designed to give people an indication as to where they're at compared to their fellow racers, and to also help us at FRL categorise drivers when we have multiple tiers, for example. So in the tacos we have 3 tiers, and that is all decided at the start of the season based on your driver rating, and you get assigned appropriately, etc. So it isn't perfect, not all the time. You know, unfortunately, if you have disconnections or one bad race, it can impact on that score. But over the course of the season, it tends to balance itself out. So I hope that very long-winded answer has given you what you're after, pal. So, final 3.5 minutes to go, and we have another 3-way for P4. So Morex, I think, has taken Liam Knott. I think those two have swapped around position-wise. So Morex is P4, Liam Knott is P5, and David is P6, but they're all running within a second of each other. So we'll just stay on board with these guys for a moment. Just worth noting as well, which I didn't mention about the driver rating, there is a driver tracker as well. You'll find the links on the FRL Discord. You can get a nice visual view as to how your driver rating has changed throughout the weeks. You can get like a week by week, month by month, kind of like graph type thing. And within the app as well, you can also see what points you have earned for your races, so you can kind of get a bit of an idea of your progression the more you race. So be sure to check out the website and the app for that. So, Lancer has got 2 minutes to go to keep P8. He's under pressure from Rui and Anderson. We've got quite a few three-ways going on the track at the moment, and this is the second one. This is the stage of the race where the drivers will be hoping they fueled their cars correctly, because the last thing, as we see a Ferrari in the background, I think that's Anderson. Anderson goes flying off at the exit of turn 6, I think, and then we had Darren Mark, the 420 Ferrari, who the back marker having to keep out of the way, I believe. So, yeah, what was I saying about the fuel? Yeah, this is the stage of the race where the drivers will be looking down at their in-car screen to see if their fuel is right, because the worst thing you can do at this stage of the race is realise that you've underfueled the car, and then you have to either change your fuel mapping or coast and save to get the car home. A couple of drivers have done that this season. They've underfueled it by accident and been caught short. So Shadow Lancer really under pressure now from Rui, but it is hard to overtake around here. So Shadow Lancer's just got to park that BMW in the right places at the right times. Do not leave the door open for Rui, but also do not make a mistake. This is one of the hardest parts of driving and racing, when you're having to defend the position. It's much easier being the hunter when you're behind someone than it is the guy in front, having to constantly check your mirror, park the car, pick those braking spots perfectly, corner by corner. But he's nearly home, Shadow Lancer. Just another lap to go. And as you would have seen as well on your screens, Rapid Duck has started the final lap of the race, so he's on the brink of a double race win tonight, which we've not seen very often in this season in Sprint Sundays, to have a double winner. That just shows how competitive the field has been this year. And then also under pressure is Morex. He's got Liam Knott all over the back of him. The final lap, he's running out of miles to get that Porsche past the McLaren. As we see Rapid Duck come across the line as your double race winner in the 48 BMW, a cracking drive from Rapid Duck. We've got Vantage home, flashing away in P2. Canesa coming home in third. Morex is rounding the final corner. He's managed to hold off the late charge of Liam Knott. Comes home in P4. Liam Knott fifth. David sixth. Moss rounding the final corner, having a better race too than he did have a race one. So Moss coming home in seventh. And has Shadow Lancer managed this contact on the last corner? Carnage at the very end. Shadow Lancer and Rui were just saying how those two were fighting away. So Shadow Lancer's got P8. Rui's actually lost out to Anderson. He's going to come home in P10, so Anderson's P9. Chris is coming home in P11, just about coming home anyway, as he comes doing his Jamaican bobsleigh impression and bang the walls across the finish line. Buddy Lee was coming home in 12th, but he's binned it at the corkscrew. So, yeah, Jigo Sito has actually took that position. So Buddy Lee losing out on the final lap. Drama unfolding here, guys, on the final lap. He'd just be limping that Mercedes home. That's unfortunate. The corkscrew claims another victim. So Buddy Lee P12, N-Specs 13th, Darren Mark 14th, Wee Danny 15th, Jack Davison 16th, Jay Brooker doing some great donuts in 17th, Ollie Mack 18th, Storico 19th, Hand of Nez 20th. I'm not sure what happened to Hand of Nez because he was up to P3 at one point, so he must have had contact there. Alright, let's get some people doing donuts. There we go, there's Vantage as well. Some lovely donuts. Good result for AMR Vantage. Right, guys, we've made it. I've made it. I've survived 2 races of commentating, extremely hungover. So thank you for joining me live in the stream, and thank you for those who are watching back at a later date. This has been, that is the end. That's the wrap of PureSimGear Super Sprint Sundays in 2022. As we look ahead to next year's Sunday. So do keep your eyes peeled on Discord for the sign-ups for next season. It is going to be a slightly different format as well. So I've actually taken over the admin duties a couple of weeks ago for Sundays, as our previous admin moved across to PC. So keep your eyes peeled on Discord for the sign-ups. As I said, it'll be a slightly different format to be announced. And yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to try and get live commentary sorted out for next season as well, be it myself or another one of our lovely commentators within FRL. And as I was saying earlier on in the night, we have Taco Tuesdays, you guessed it, on Tuesday upcoming, which is the season finale there, an hour and a half special here at Laguna Seca across all 3 tiers. You'll be able to catch those live on YouTube as well, as we have Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3 coming to a curtain call. And then we have the Endurance, which will be restarting in January 2023 for round 3, I believe, at Spa. But there is a couple of one-off festivities, races that you can sign up to if you haven't already done so. So thank you for all those who have raced this season in Sprint Sundays. I hope to see everyone signed up for the next season. Thank you for joining the live stream. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on this season. There's been some really cracking races. Unfortunately, I've not been able to make every single race. I've missed a couple due to personal events this year. But yeah, thank you for joining me on the coverage. I'm FRL Lewis, also Louis UK within game. I will catch you on track on Tuesday night. Thank you guys, take care, have an amazing Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye bye.